What if I told you the next global tech superpower isn't the United States and it isn't China? What if I told you it's a continent of 1.4 billion people that for too long many had written off? While the world was glued to Silicon Valley, something incredible was happening in plain sight. A digital revolution was taking root, quietly, resiliently, and on its own terms. This isn't just a story about potential. It's a story about power. This is the story of how Africa is building a tech-driven economy that some experts project could be worth $1.5 trillion, and it's on the verge of changing everything. Stay with us to the end to find out how Africa is revolutionizing the world of technology. The old story versus the new reality. For decades, the story of Africa was one told by others. It was a single, monolithic tale of poverty and aid, of a continent left behind. It was a story that felt stuck in the past. If that's still your image of Africa, you're about to be left behind. Because while that old, tired narrative was on repeat, a different story was being written on the ground. Not by outsiders, but by a new generation of Africans. Server lights began to blink in Lagos. Drones started to rise over Kigali, and in tech hubs from Cape Town to Cairo, millions of young, ambitious innovators weren't just consuming technology, they were creating it. They looked at problems once seen as insurmountable, limited banking, infrastructure gaps, power shortages, and saw billion-dollar opportunities. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't just copy Silicon Valley's playbook. They started building. Today, that quiet hum has become a roar. That collection of startups has become an ecosystem, and that ecosystem is now a continental force. Breakout companies now hail from Angola, Ethiopia, Ghana, and Zambia, proving this tech renaissance is a pan-African movement, not just isolated to a few major hubs. This isn't the dark continent. This is the world's next great hub of ingenuity. This is a continent-wide digital transformation, and its momentum is now undeniable. Section 1. The Foundation, Leapfrogging into the Future. To get what's happening, you have to understand one key concept: leapfrogging. For decades, much of Africa lacked the legacy infrastructure that defined the developed world: landline telephones, sprawling bank branches, and reliable power grids. But what was once seen as a weakness became its greatest strategic asset. Instead of being burdened by outdated systems, Africa had a blank slate. It was free to leap directly into the future. And that leap began with the mobile phone. While other parts of the world were slowly moving from dial-up to broadband, mobile phones spread across Africa faster than almost any technology in human history. It wasn't just about making calls. For millions, a simple phone became their first digital identity, their first bank account, their first real gateway to the global economy. The most iconic example is, of course, M-Pesa in Kenya. Back in the early 2000s, sending money across the country was slow, expensive, and often risky. The banking system was out of reach for the vast majority. Then, in 2007, Safaricom launched a service letting people transfer money with a simple text message. It wasn't built on fancy apps or high-speed internet. It was built for the reality on the ground. Within 5 years, nearly half of Kenya's GDP was flowing through M-Pesa. An entire economy within an economy was born, empowering everyone from small-scale farmers to urban entrepreneurs. Silicon Valley didn't get it at first, but they had missed the point. Africa hadn't just built a payment app, it had leapfrogged the entire traditional banking system. This mobile-first revolution laid the foundation for everything else. Today, with mobile internet penetration exploding and countries like Rwanda boasting 95% 4G coverage, the continent is primed for the next wave of innovation. Massive internet cables, like Google's Equiano and Meta's 2Africa project, now surround the continent, dramatically boosting internet speeds and dropping costs. The West built the first internet. Africa is building the next one. Mobile, decentralized, and self-reliant. This isn't about catching up. It's about building newer, more efficient systems from the ground up. That's the core of the leapfrog advantage. And that's the bedrock of this entire tech revolution. If mobile was the foundation, Fintech became the engine room of Africa's tech boom. That spark from M-Pesa ignited a firestorm of innovation that has completely reshaped the continent's economic landscape. Today, Fintech is still the defining force in African tech. Of the continent's 9 tech unicorns, a staggering 8 are Fintech companies. From that one idea of mobile money, entrepreneurs across Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, and Egypt took the concept and ran with it. They weren't just creating payment companies, they were forging economic engines. Take Flutterwave, now valued at over $3 billion. It built the payment infrastructure that lets businesses across the continent accept payments from anywhere in the world. It solved a fundamental problem. How can a small shop in Lagos sell to a customer in Nairobi or New York? OPay, a Nigerian super app valued at up to $2.75 billion, offers a whole suite of financial services, from payments and transfers to loans and savings to its over 50 million users. Then there's TimeBank in South Africa, which became the continent's first digital bank to hit profitability by offering a no-fee bank account you can open in under 5 minutes. It now serves more than 10 million customers. These companies became unicorns not by chasing trends, but by solving deep, systemic problems. On a continent where hundreds of millions of people were unbanked or underbanked, these startups offered financial inclusion. For small and medium-sized businesses, the lifeblood of African economies, they offered access to credit, digital tools, and a gateway to global markets. What makes this fintech revolution so powerful is its ripple effect. It's not just about transactions, it's about creating a trusted digital framework for the entire economy. Blockchain solutions are making cross-border remittances cheaper and faster. Buy now, pay later services tailored for African consumers are boosting their purchasing power. The growth has been explosive. Venture capital flooded the sector, with African fintech startups securing over $1.4 billion in 2022 alone. In the first half of 2025, fintech still dominates, accounting for 45% of the $1.42 billion raised by African startups. This isn't just a boom, it's a fundamental rewiring of how money moves, how businesses operate, and how wealth is created across an entire continent. The fintech engine is firing on all cylinders. Section 3. Beyond Fintech, Diversifying the Empire. While fintech may be the roaring engine, the revolution is spreading, diversifying into every corner of the economy. African innovators are applying the same homegrown leapfrogging approach to solve other critical continent-specific challenges. This is where you see the true scale of the transformation. In agriculture, tech is sparking a new green revolution. For generations, smallholder farmers who grow most of the continent's food were stuck dealing with unpredictable weather and poor market access. Now, Agritech startups are changing the game. Kenya's Apollo Agriculture uses satellite data and machine learning to give farmers customized advice, quality farm inputs on credit, and insurance. In 2022, it locked down a $40 million funding round to expand its services and has continued to secure millions in further funding to support hundreds of thousands of farmers. This is precision farming, delivered through a simple mobile phone. In healthcare, the impact is just as profound. On a continent with vast distances and a shortage of doctors, health-tech startups are bridging the gap. In Rwanda, drones from companies like Zipline are a routine part of the healthcare system, delivering blood, medicine, and vaccines to remote clinics in minutes, completely bypassing impassable roads. In Nigeria, Remedial Health is fixing the pharmaceutical supply chain, connecting thousands of pharmacies and hospitals directly with manufacturers to ensure a steady supply of authentic medicines. Meanwhile, Ghana's M-Pharma is tackling affordability by managing pharmacy inventories and using its scale to negotiate lower prices for patients. This isn't just about convenience, it's about saving lives with logistics and data. In energy, innovators are tackling one of Africa's oldest challenges, access to power.
Instead of waiting for slow-moving national grid projects, startups are building decentralized, clean energy solutions. Nigeria's Coolbox developed a revolutionary off-grid solar refrigerator that stays cold for up to 4 days without power, a game-changer for small businesses and families. Kenya's Mokopa started by financing solar home systems and has now expanded into financing electric motorbikes, driving the e-mobility shift in cities like Nairobi. And from health to farming, energy to commerce, the story is the same. Homegrown companies are building practical, scalable solutions for real-world problems. They're digitizing supply chains, improving access to essential services, and creating efficiency where it never existed. The tech empire isn't just deep, it's getting incredibly broad.
If the current transformation is built on mobile and fintech, the future is being forged in data and artificial intelligence. The headline number grabbing everyone's attention is a staggering projection from a report by SAP. AI could contribute up to $1.5 trillion to Africa's GDP by 2030. Now that projection comes with a big if. It depends on the continent capturing 10% of the global AI market, but it shows the sheer scale of the opportunity. This push is born out of necessity and ambition. For years, African data has been hosted and monetized abroad. The continent currently holds less than 1% of the world's data center capacity, despite having 18% of its population. That created dependency and left Africa on the sidelines of the data economy. That is now changing, fast. A data infrastructure boom is underway. In a landmark move, Microsoft and G42 announced a $1 billion investment to build a massive geothermal-powered data center in Kenya, creating an AI superhighway for East Africa. Data center giants like Equinix are pouring hundreds of millions into new facilities in Nigeria, and local players like Raxio Group are building a network of high-quality data centers across underserved markets from Ethiopia to the DRC. Analysts estimate Africa needs at least 700 new data centers to meet its demand, a massive investment opportunity. But this isn't just about storage, it's about sovereignty. In mid-2024, the African Union adopted a continental AI strategy, a clear signal that Africa is taking ownership of its digital future. Following this, the AU is advancing its Continental Digital Trade Protocol, a historic move to create a single digital market with harmonized rules on data flows, cybersecurity, and payments. This is designed to keep value on the continent and make it easier to scale a business across 54 countries. National governments are moving in lockstep. At least 14 countries, including Egypt, Kenya, Rwanda, and Nigeria, have developed national AI strategies. Morocco is home to the TubeCall supercomputer, one of the most powerful on the continent, while South Africa's Lengau supercomputer is advancing critical research. Most excitingly, this infrastructure is sparking homegrown AI. Startups like Lelapa AI are building language models trained on African languages and cultural contexts. The research community Masakane is creating open-source tools for over 30 African languages, ensuring this revolution is inclusive. Africa isn't just adopting AI, it's building the infrastructure, setting the rules, and developing the talent to shape its future on its own terms.
Section 5. The Architects: People, Policy, and Partnerships. A tech empire isn't just built with code and capital. It's built by people, enabled by policy, and accelerated by partnerships. These are the architects designing Africa's digital future. The single greatest resource behind this transformation is Africa's people. The continent has the youngest population in the world. By 2030, 42% of the world's youth will be African. This isn't just a demographic stat, it's an economic force. We're talking about hundreds of millions of digital natives, fearless, connected, and fluent in the language of technology. They are the entrepreneurs, developers, and creators fueling this revolution from the ground up. This talent is being cultivated in a booming network of innovation hubs. Cities like Lagos, Nairobi, Cape Town, and Kigali have become vibrant ecosystems. But the movement is decentralized, with breakout companies popping up everywhere from Rwanda to Lusaka. This groundswell of talent is even starting to reverse the brain drain as experienced Africans return home from global tech hubs, bringing credibility, networks, and crucial expertise with them. This human capital is being amplified by smarter policy. For years, navigating 54 different regulatory landscapes was a nightmare. That's changing. The African Continental Free Trade Area's protocol on digital trade, which is being advanced following the adoption of the AU's Continental AI strategy, aims to create a single, harmonized market for digital goods and services. This isn't just talk, it's the deliberate construction of a unified economic space, making it far easier for a startup in Ghana to serve a customer in Angola. Finally, this growth is being fueled by a new era of partnerships. While international venture capital is still key, with Africa's tech ecosystem raising $1.42 billion in the first half of 2025 alone, the nature of investment is maturing. Global tech giants are no longer just watching, they're investing. Microsoft's billion-dollar data center plan is a prime example. This mix of local innovation, supportive policy, and strategic international capital is creating a powerful flywheel for growth. We began with a question. What if the next tech superpower wasn't who you thought it would be? The evidence is overwhelming. This is not a distant prediction. It's happening right now across a continent of 54 countries and 1.4 billion people. It's an empire built not on conquest, but on connection, defined not by borders, but by bandwidth. It's powered by the ingenuity of innovators turning their greatest challenges into their biggest opportunities. This is the story of leapfrogging, of bypassing old systems to build the infrastructure of tomorrow, from mobile money to decentralized solar grids. It's the story of homegrown solutions, of startups in Fintech, healthcare, and agriculture, creating real value by solving real problems for their own communities. And most importantly, it's the story of people. A young, dynamic, and relentlessly optimistic generation who aren't waiting for the future. They're building it, line by code, one startup at a time. That headline projection of a $1.5 trillion economic contribution from AI isn't a guarantee, it's a target. It represents the massive potential, millions of lives that could be transformed, and a continent taking its rightful place on the global stage. Challenges remain, of course, but the momentum is undeniable, and the trajectory is clear. For decades, the world told a story about Africa. Now, Africa is telling its own. It's a story of resilience, of innovation, and of an empire quietly being built while the world wasn't looking. This is the dawn of Africa's tech revolution, and its story is only just beginning. If you were inspired by this story and want more deep dives into the innovation shaping our world, make sure to subscribe and let us know in the comments what part of Africa's tech revolution excites you the most. Join the conversation.